What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm your producer and emergency fill-in co-host sometimes, Corey Inscoe. And unfortunately, the fact that I'm here means that we don't have one David Gusler, who's making a nice little trip down to the South Carolina coast right now. So we miss him, but I do have one David Gusler, an echo is what I have. So we miss him, but I do have one David Gusler, an echo.
Let me see if I can fix that. Go ahead.
Man, it's a Monday night. We're feeling the Monday night right now.
I tell you what, this start is just like the start of our game Saturday. Lots of false starts and technical difficulties and problems.
Yeah. So I do have Matt Swither with me. So we have some great a wealth of knowledge and analysis on the show. You're lucky that it's not just me to rant and rave about things. So Matt, thanks for keeping me company here and working through technical difficulties. How you doing?
Good, man. Like right before we went live, my camera went out, computer went out. And then somehow we got some feedback there. So apologies for the little late start. But like I said, it's on par for what happened Saturday.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. My camera went out first. Then I got mine fixed. And then by the time I got mine fixed, Matt disappeared. And so we were having all kinds of fun this Monday. But we're good now. I think we got it all out of the way. And we're excited to talk about a win for Charlotte FC, back home, back at the bank. And getting a very nice 3 points on Saturday against Columbus Crew in possibly the wildest soccer match I've ever seen. And we're going to get into the details of that, but it was quite the interesting match there, Matt.
Yeah, it was a wild, insane, glorious filled game with drama and absurdity. Like I said, at the very kickoff, there were issues. We had to restart. What was it? 3 times, I think. So that should have told you everything you needed to know about how that night was going to go, especially for the referees.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing this one live for those listening after the fact. We're doing it live, so we're hoping that some folks here on the watching the live stream will chime in with any questions. We'll bring those in as it makes sense. And I also apologize to anybody watching this if I'm all over the place looking around. This is usually why I'm behind the scenes. So I'm not multitasking like I would be on a Zoom call at work. Hope my boss doesn't hear that. But I'm just trying to manage all these comments. So please send in any comments you have, any questions you have. We also got a lot of great questions ahead of time that we'll sprinkle in throughout as we get going on this. But yeah, let's talk about this first half, especially this match. And I have to say, this has come up in the podcast before. I'm a UNC basketball fan. So I was a bit distracted for the very beginning of this match. So I actually came in a little bit late, but heard talk of an interesting start. So can you just for me, this is mostly for me, Matt. What the heck happened at the opening kickoff?
I've seen like a false start before, like on the kickoff, like a player might rush down the field a little too quickly, but it happened like 3 times. And the referee could have very easily just let this go. He could have let the first one just go. Like, all right, let's start. It was so absurd. This referee had an adventurous night, to say the least. So, like I said, the kickoff should have been an indicator of how this night was going to go.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's actually get into the match a little bit. Let's dig in here. Let's start with the starting lineup. Obviously, a few changes there. We'll start with Charlotte. Kind of, what were your reactions to seeing the starting 11 for Charlotte that came onto the field?
I was very shocked, actually. I think I said Thursday that it's going to be interesting to see what Dean does in this game, and this is how I was going to grade him. After how this game has shaped out, I don't know if I can grade him at all. But with the starting lineup, I was certainly shocked with him starting Arfield and Brecht. But to me, that said, hey, we're not afraid to be going forward. We're not going to sit back and just hunker down and play defense. So that was kind of encouraging. And it kind of let me know too that we were not going to press as much as maybe we would another team. And I kind of mentioned that Thursday as well too. I mean, Columbus is so good about beating those lines and beating the press. So I think it was a good call.
Yeah.
And one that I was kind of pleasantly surprised about. It's nice to know that we're going to have a coach that's going to go for it instead of just being like, we're playing a good team, let's hunker back and not do anything.
Well, I was going to say you're saying we have a coach that makes adjustments based on the opponent we're playing and the way they like to play. Is that what?
Shocker.
Yeah, that's wild. Just
It is
imagine.
wild. It's wild times, man. It's wild. I think I tweeted that. I was like, we're living in wild times, man. That we mix it up and go for it. Yeah, depending on our opponent.
Yeah, it's imagine that. Anything on the Columbus Crew side? I know they were missing some folks. Anything on their lineup that you wanted to highlight?
Oh my God. Let me tell you about the Crew fans and just how many excuses that they made. And I'll cover a couple of them. Now, so they were
Please.
missing goalkeeper Patrick Schulte.
Yep.
They were missing Aiden Morris. They were missing Jason Russell Rowe. Those are big misses, right?
Yeah.
I totally understand, right? They made a big thing about the international break as if that was somehow our fault. I will counter with this. We started 0 DPs. One is injured. One was actually held up for international break. And the other, we just don't have.
We just don't have, yeah.
Crimea River, you have Cucho Hernandez in your team, and you have Darlington Nagbe. You have all these amazing pieces. I have no sympathy. That's going to be the title of this episode, I think. I have zero sympathy for the Crew. But yeah, I mean, like that's one of the things they brought up was international break, and kudos to us for beating a depleted Crew team. I'm like, I'm sorry, our starting left back was also out too. He played like what, maybe 10 minutes. So
right.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. So I think it's just a matter of they haven't lost it September, and I just don't think they're used to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the season goes. It's a long season with a lot of, international breaks and things. I mean, injuries and those things happen. Like that's part of what it is. So, like that's not an excuse to make. I mean, if you want to talk about refereeing, which we will in a little bit, I mean, you can start talking about that. But I did want to bring in this question from Wesley, because he asked something that I know we talked about previously too. Is he says he's still surprised that Jalen didn't get the start. Or didn't even come in off the bench when we made a change back there. So what was your thought on not seeing Jalen in this
I was shocked at that as well too. We talked Saturday on Soccer and Coffee that I thought maybe we would slide Burn over to left back and start Jalen on the right. I thought we could have used his service into the box, but instead they kept Burn on the right and put in João Pedro, who I thought played pretty well. Jalen did play for Crown Legacy Sunday. I wouldn't read too much into that. I think it's more of just getting him some minutes, letting him get some playing time instead of just sitting on the bench. He's still going to be a part of this team. He's still going to get rotated in. There could be injuries, all types of things. So, and again, our coach is going to take this game at a time. So depending on who we play, Jalen might get in. So. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so let's work our way through this match, and especially the first half. I wish I'd written down in the moment like all the things that happened, because I'm worried I'm going to forget something. So hopefully between the two of us, remember all the chaos that happened in that first half. Is the right place to start the Derek Jones red card, or would you want to go back further than that, or something else?
We'll go a little earlier.
What do you want to start with?
Yeah, just a couple of things I want to call out. I was a little worried early. I didn't think we were playing all that great. Cucho Hernandez did have an early chance. I think it was like in the second minute. And it was really troublesome, especially maybe my angle. Maybe people from around the stadium had a different angle of this, but he gets the ball at the top of the box and we don't close him down. And he gets this curling shot off. And I think it fooled Kalina. And it was one of those ones where you just think Kalina's going to stand there and it's just going to go in the top right corner. But luckily it went wide. But it was concerning that early that the best player on the field is that open in the second minute. And I was like, oh boy, this might be a really, really long night. And then again, in the 9th minute. They had a shot go off the post. I think Kalina had it covered. It wasn't a great angle, but again, a nervy first 10 minutes. But Columbus are a really good squad coming forward, so we were able to kind of weather that early storm, I guess.
Yeah, and to your point too, I mean, when we're jumping ahead now, but talking about leaving Cucho wide open again, I mean, they did it again and got saved by an offsides call, which we're jumping ahead. I know I'm messing up the order already, but it felt like a natural flow. But like, I didn't go to this match because again, I was trying to multitask with my TVs, and so they showed the ref looking at VAR. And the angle he had that he was trying to make that offside call on to take away the Columbus goal was wild.
I think I know why.
Okay.
So I tried to go back and look at this. When you look at the main camera feed, the goalkeeper plays this ball first. That's where this ball comes from. Half of the screen is cut, half of the camera is cutting off half of the field. So when they're going back to VAR, they can't see that second half of the field. And I was like, oh, that's why they use the other angle, because I was kind of confused about that too.
Yeah.
And I saw, of course, a Columbus Crew fan post that front view. And I'm like, the ball is literally in mid-flight. And yeah, now he's definitely not offside, but the ball is in mid-flight. So I don't know what to tell you there, man. Do you not understand how offside works? But
I mean, it did seem like he was off, but it did worry me again, and we ended up working out okay in the long run. But it did worry me a little bit again when they just, and even I was listening to the radio broadcast when I watched a home match at home, which is like the greatest Apple TV feature. If you don't know about this, go down to your sound settings. You can pick the home radio feed if they're playing in Charlotte, and it's just a million times better. Yeah. But what they were kind of harping on is even if it was offside, it felt like the defense switched off and they left the best goal scorer on the field and maybe in the league right now, like wide open at the top of the box to be able to put that away. So it's still, they got away with it because of the offside call, but just really kind of some nervy moments there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's basically Westwood and Gianni's problem there. They need to be picking him up coming through the middle. And that was my concern with the starting 11 at the very beginning. Like, are we going to have enough defense to, contain him? Are we going to be mindful, since we're rotating that back line little bit? Are they going to be mindful of where he's shifting around? So he's a concern, but yeah, it was a problem. And leaving him open twice like that is a concern. So something that we have to continuously look out for. We've let a couple of big players get chances like that, and Insigne's another one. You can't let those guys get the ball and dribble forward. They make things happen every time.
Yep. Anything else you want to talk about before we get to the red card? Was there anything else on your list?
I think that's it. I think because the red card came, I'm trying to look back.
26th minute. Yeah, I've got the. Yeah. I had to pull up like the Foot Mob like events ticker, because otherwise I would forget the order of things happening.
Oh, we need to we do need to go back. We need to go back to the most absurd situation. I don't know if it's the most absurd. There's lots of absurd situations, weren't there? So in the 20th minute, we had a fantastic chance to score.
Oh yeah, that was before that. You're right.
Yeah, the game should have been 1-0 in the first 20 minutes, right? Yep. Scott Arfield puts a great ball across the 6-yard box, and Breck DeHaare pulls a Sunday Beer League TikTok video and gets the ball stuck under his feet somehow. I don't know if he thought about it, was like, maybe I should trap it and then hit it, or just first time it, but it gets stuck under his feet. And during this whole scenario, I'm having PTSD of the first 4 games where we've missed chances and just had the most absurd luck. I'm like, I cannot believe what I am seeing. And of course, after that, the ball falls to Patrick. He lays it off to Gianni. Patrick, quote unquote, fouls Darlington Nagbe, who should get a an Emmy or Oscar or whatever for flopping like that. They call the foul, but also Columbus Crew fans were also saying it was 100% a foul, and also to Brecht, who was still laying on the ground, feeling like a complete idiot, was right in the keeper's way anyway, and it wouldn't have been called offsides. But let me go back. It should have been 1-0 because 99,000 out of a million times or whatever. I can't even do math right now. I'm so mad about it. Like he should have scored that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just it's upsetting that we could have had an early lead.
Yeah, I think at that point, because I did the same thing you did. Like after seeing that, I thought about all the previous. This team has had over and over again just amazing chances by different players. Even it's not like one. I mean, some more than others, but by different people having these amazing chances and not being able to put away. I'm like, this team just can't score. They cannot. I don't know. They're like cursed. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They're putting the ball. The difference between I think previous years and this year is they're putting the ball in super dangerous areas. They're making really nice runs and putting good balls in, and then just like no finishing. Just cannot finish it. And I don't understand it. But yeah,
cursed was exactly what came to my head. What is up with this team? Just that alone, like I'm just like, oh my God, this is not going to be our night. This is going to be one of those games where just nothing right happens. But
yeah, we'll get to the fun part later. Yeah. But no, I said the same thing. I looked over and I said, we're gonna either draw this game 0-0 after all that and some other things later in the first half, after the missed penalty, which we'll get to a little more. But like after all that, I was like, we're gonna either draw this game or we're gonna lose 1-0. It's gonna either draw 0-0 or we're gonna lose 1-0 at this point, because that's just the way it feels like this game is playing out right now. So I'm glad I was wrong. But it just had the feeling of one of those games where just nothing was going to go right for Charlotte there. So then, am I safe to move on to the one thing I've been trying to talk about for like 10 minutes? Because I can't remember when things happened in this match. All right. They need to put missed shots.
I think it was in the I think it was the 25th minute is Derek Jones.
Yep. So it says 26 on the foot, whatever, somewhere around there. Derek Jones, poor DJ, gets a red card. That was just the most absurd red card. I mean, it's funny to me because I feel like so often we feel like we get unfairly treated by the ref. Like I feel like we've talked about that in past shows that it feels like we get the wrong instance. We got a lot of the right end of the luck on with refs this game, and I could not believe that they called that a red card. I thought it was really harsh. I understood what they were calling it for, but it just felt extremely, extremely harsh to call that on DJ. But what was your thought on that?
Well, Derek Jones was on the field for 8 minutes because he was. Let me back up. He was on the field for 8 minutes because the Crew players kept getting hurt, that was because of our turf apparently. Like they're just. Like they have used every single excuse I've ever seen. I've never seen a fan base that damn salty. I usually like Columbus and like their fans in person. They're great. Yeah. Just the post after this game, I cannot believe all of it. But
yeah, well, it's insane. Just to jump in real quick, it's insane how much happened this first half. Like I'm forgetting, like things like they used 2 of their substitution windows in the first like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they kept getting hurt. I mean, there's so much going on in this first half.
It's because our turf is bad and our city is garbage is why they got hurt. In case you don't know. But okay, I don't think, well, here's the thing. The referee just doesn't even call this a foul, which is insane to me. When you actually go back and look at it, it is reckless. It is high and it's hard. If the call was made on the field, it should have been a yellow card. That's just that's my take. It should have been a yellow card and a stern warning to Derek Jones, like, hey, dude, you just got on the field. Derek is kind of a little clumsy. I'm just going to say, I know people like Derek Jones. And here's the thing. Derek Jones is a good guy, so I know he did not do this on purpose. He's
of course.
Kind of he's leggy. He's a little clumsy. But he did not mean to do this. I don't think it was a red card. I think it was harsh, but it was just ridiculous that it wasn't even called a foul,
Yeah.
which is horrible. And luckily Diani was not hurt because it was really high, and it was dangerous. So for whatever reason, MLS stopped it and thought it was deemed a red card. So very unlucky for Derek. I'm sure that's not the homecoming that he was quite expecting.
Yeah.
And you could see it on his face. He was just like, he was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that for him because I do really like him as a person and a player. And, obviously I wanted us to win, but I hated that for him to come back to Charlotte and that be his 8 minutes on the field.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up some things here because we have some differing opinions in the comments. Most people, we've got Mint City Matthew here, who says it should have been a yellow, feels bad for Derek. We also have someone says there should have been no card at all. Let's see, there's some more. Joe Garcia says should have been a yellow at worst. Greg Franco says he stomped both on Gianni's foot and elbowed him in the face. Both unintentional. He did say it was unintentional.
Greg's like me. Greg's tired of the crew fans for sure posting all their crap. So I hear you, Greg. But I will say it should have been. It was 1,000% a foul. I don't know how in the hell you could say it's not a foul.
Sure,
it should have been a yellow card for sure. Red card, I don't think so. Go back and look at the replay. I don't know how in the world you don't think that's a foul. That's weird to me. But yeah.
Before the show, we got a comment from Elliot Fox. I'm assuming that's what the emoji is Elliot Fox. Conspiracy theory. Jones premeditated his red card. He will forever be por la Corona, which I love. I love that. Someone else said something similar in the comments that was like sleeper cell DJ or something like that. So I like this conspiracy theory that he's still on our side in all of this.
Well, I was talking to the people around me. There was a stop in place, so we're all talking. I'm like, it is kind of strange that the guy that DJ takes out is basically his replacement. Too. I mean, that was right through my head. I was like, dang, what a weird person to foul like that. But again, like I feel horrible for Derek, man. Like I said, like if you ever met him, he's such a nice guy, and I know he did not do it on purpose. So
absolutely,
it just sucks. I mean, I don't want him to come and beat us. But you always kind of root for former players, and especially if they're a nice guy. So that kind of sucks. So I could see why Columbus fans are a little salty about that. But man, they made the most of literally every excuse this game.
So these are the reasons that I'm not on. Well, one of the many reasons why I'm not on Twitter anymore is I don't have to deal with this. Soccer Twitter hasn't quite made it to Threads yet, so I'm in like a safe bubble. So I just get my my fan reaction mean posts from you and David just texting them to me, which I fully appreciate there. So so it's very nice. All right, I've even lost track of where we are. What's next on your list? There's so much.
I think we're 30 minutes in, and we're actually 30 minutes into the game.
Okay. All right. What you got next?
Oh, I don't even know. Where are we? So we are in stoppage time at this point.
Okay, I was gonna jump there. I just want to make sure you didn't have anything before stoppage time that we were getting
50 minutes of stoppage time apparently. No, it was insane. So like we had another good chance in stoppage time. Westwood plays this amazing ball to Vargas, who, as the play is happening, it's just another chance that we don't put away. He heads it right to the goalkeeper. It was good movement, good build up, but I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, but it was called for offside. It didn't look offside. So again, it's another, I think, missed call by the referee. And then, so we have in the 55th minute of stoppage time, right? We're like, just so confused where we are.
Yeah, so like there was 10 announced minutes, but it actually went like 16. I think we were in the 61st minute by the time that the whistle blew.
Well, but then after the Vargas missed chance, now we're talking about the Cucho Hernandez goal that was disallowed for offside.
Yeah, I jumped ahead, but
So, but again, like again, it's such a weird night that VAR had to use a totally different angle to look at it because the normal feed was cut off and you couldn't see the second half of it. Go back and watch the replays of it. You'll see what I'm talking about. When the goalkeeper kicks the ball, you cannot see our back line and
Right.
the Columbus player.
Right.
And then, like I said, you can only see it when the ball's mid-flight. And then, of course, he is definitely onside because Nathan Byrne is running back at that time. But if you look at the other angle, it shows that he's offside. But of course, the Crew fans don't believe that. But it is what it is. But it was disallowed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give this referee too much credit based on everything else we saw. I mean, you would think that it had to be pretty clear from that camera angle, or else, because the call on the field was a goal, like, so you had to see something in that camera angle that made it pretty obvious. So, like, I think it was the right call, and all the players, again, they shut down and kind of stopped defending for a second there, but they all clearly thought he was off. I mean, it seemed pretty obvious to them, so I think it was the right call there as well too. But again, it was just another kind of dangerous moment there where we seemed to, especially being up a man, and just kind of totally switch off in that moment on defense, and got
Exactly.
saved by a call.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking about it early, Corey. You brought it up. You know, Cucho being free at the top of the box again. How do you leave him open? But as
Right.
you watch the end of that play, you have Westwood and Gianni like tracking back, and our defense is, you know, sagged into the box. And that's the concern, is the relationship between the back line and then Gianni and Westwood. You can't have that gap there.
Right.
So that's why we got to move as a unit a little better and be a little bit more mindful, especially when you have one of the best players in MLS out on the field. So it was kind of odd, but we get bailed out. So that was in the 55th minute, not of the game, of the first half. And then in the 58th minute of stoppage time, we get the Vargas PK shove in the back. Again, Columbus fans do not think this was a foul. It was just like the foul that we didn't get in Nashville against Patrick.
Right.
It's a
Right.
push in the back. I don't know what to tell you. It's a foul. Is it soft? Is it weak? Whatever you want to say. It's a push in the back.
It's a foul in the box. Like,
it's a foul in the box. If it's anywhere on the field, it's a foul. If it's in the box, I'm sorry. The rules stipulate it's a PK. So, but nonetheless, first half substitute. So Arfield, who also gets hurt in the first half because apparently only Columbus Crew players got hurt in the first half. We had a player come off. Arfield comes off. I think he's okay. I'll probably have an update Thursday, but I think he is just more precautionary. But
yeah, it seemed that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yuri Tavares comes in, steps up. Apparently he's been taking these well in training, not so much in real life, as he puts this over the stadium. And again, I could not believe it. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And so again, Columbus fans can say whatever they want, but like this game could have easily been 2-3-0 or 2-3-1 if we want to give you the Cucho goal. But at the break, we are scoreless. I can't even believe it.
Yeah. No. See, there are a couple of things I was gonna say on it. Is the penalty call was wild to me, given what happened to us in Nashville the week before. You know, like the one in Nashville seemed way more egregious to me, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
And then this one was called. So maybe we're finally getting the karma coming back our direction. I don't know. But yeah, it was a foul in the box. It should have been called. I'm good with that. The penalty I wanted to talk about a little bit more, because if I remember correctly, I didn't write anything down again. But I think it was it Yao Pedro and Tavares who were the ones standing over the spot, kind of discussing who was going to take it. And I felt I was definitely like, okay, no, not Pedro. And so,
no.
But then, like, looking at the two options, like, why are those the two that are discussing who's going to take this kick? I feel like there's other more experienced penalty kick takers on this squad that maybe should step up and grab the ball and do their thing. Not that I want to take anything away from him. If he's been looking good in training, great. But it just felt I think there needs to be a little more control over who's stepping up and taking those
I,
penalties.
yeah, I think it needs every team. To me, seems like they have one player that's just like, I am the man. I am going to do it. I'm the guy. It typically is the captain. I think Westwood should be the one that takes these. If
Yeah.
it's not him, because it was always Swiderski, and hell, Swiderski would grab the ball from somebody and be like, "Nah, I'm taking this."
Yeah.
But I'm glad Pedro didn't take it, because I don't know if you saw his PK in the shootout for Legacy.
Right.
All these players now are doing this really ridiculous run up, fake stutter step, and by the time they get to the ball, they have absolutely no power on the shot.
Yeah.
Except for Yuri, who launched the ball into the stratosphere. But I don't like this new style of penalty kicks either. Go up and hit the damn thing. Pick a corner, hit it. Don't hit it high. This stutter step crap is getting a little out of hand. So, but we need somebody who can really step up and take these. Again, we got extremely lucky because we missed a bunch of chances again for like the 5th week in a row, and I just don't. Our luck's got to change with this stuff. So, it was disappointing. I did not feel good about the first half. I had those thoughts like, oh my God, we're the man. And I was reminding people around us, I'm like, we're up a man. They're like, oh my God, that's right.
Right.
We didn't play like it.
No, we didn't. That worried me. I mean, I do. We can get more into this maybe later, but I do think the end result might cover up some of the issues that we saw in that. Like, people are going to look back and be like, oh, they won 2-0 against a really good team, great. But there's some really worrying pieces there, which maybe we can get into a little bit. I did want, before we move on from the PK, there are a few comments in here. Most people agree with you. Matt and NC German also said Westwood should be taking the penalty. Captain should always be taking the penalty. So we agree there. Vaughn Pullman, good friend of the show, usually the fill-in for David, but you're stuck with budget David right now over here. So budget David, that's terrible. All right, but he said he felt like João Pedro was playing decoy the PK spot, which is probably a good point there.
Yeah, probably could have been.
And then Vaughn also says, let your number 9 take the PK, which is what I always think. I mean, I like Westwood too, but to me, it's like you put your striker in there, like let them take the penalty. That's, to me, that's part of their role. And I always think of, you hear this a lot maybe in other sports, but I think you hear in soccer too. It's like, I think especially when you're having someone who's struggling to score or a team that's struggling to score, like just seeing the ball hit the back of the net, even if it's a penalty, just like seeing that happen can get them going a little bit. So like let your goal scorer get up there and take the penalty. So anyway, I think it was an interesting moment there. I thought we were cursed. I was tired from watching 16 minutes of stoppage time. I didn't know what to do. Then I had to flip over and watch NC State in the tournament, and I came back to the game and we get into the second half. So let's see, where do we want to start in the second half? I'm pulling up my list of things that happened there, but what do you want to talk about? I'm going to kind of hand it over to you again and say, like, what's your first talking point for the second half?
I mean, no, there wasn't a lot of specific moments. I gotta admit, I was disappointed really with the whole night with the way we played, honestly. With being a man up. I thought we could have done a little better about moving the ball around. We were launching a lot of long balls and way too much. Like I'm all for mixing it up. I've actually called for more long balls in the past, but I thought it was a little much Saturday night. The wind was a factor again. I thought we were best when we played quickly on the ground. Now, I say all that, but how our first goal came about was a long ball from João Pedro out of the back. So he launches this forward, and Columbus tries to clear it out of the box, and it just falls to Captain Ashley Westwood, who does not score normal goals. It's only straight bangers, man. That's all this dude does. He frustrates me sometimes because I'm like, he needs to shoot. He's at the top of the box, shoot it, and he won't. But he's only waiting for like a volley or a half volley.
Yeah,
that's all he's gonna do.
No, he's a normal goal's not good enough. It's gotta be something special. We got to go big on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, but like I said, I thought we played too many long balls. I thought we should have played more on the ground and just switching the ball faster on the
Hmm.
ground. Especially being a man up. I just felt like, you know, and kudos to Columbus. They're a great team. Do not get me wrong. I
Yeah,
think they're going to be battling for MLS Cup.
absolutely.
Even with 10 men, they were able to just keep us at bay. We were a little anemic on offense. The second goal is what I really want to talk about,
Yeah.
and I've mentioned this a few times this season. Um, it's a small pass, but it's effective, and it's something we don't do enough of. And
Hmm.
again, I go back to Gianni playing a nice little ball to Patrick Agamang on the ground through the channel into space.
Yep.
Big Pat's able to run onto it, use his frame, and then just smashes the shit out of the ball. Uh, it was near post. The keeper probably, you never want to give up a goal near post, but like if it's, you know, hit that hard and gonna blast your face off, it's kind of hard to stop a
Yeah.
shot like that. But that's what I want to see more of. I want to see those balls, and I think Gianni gives us that. But that's something I think I want us to work on more. I've seen that past 2 games now where
Hmm.
that's been effective.
Yep.
Um, so
Yeah, I was excited to see him. I mean, he's so, and we've talked about this in past seasons when Patrick's had opportunities to be out there on the field and playing well, and his just ability. One, he's so much faster than you think he is,
yeah,
and then his ability to use that frame to hold somebody off and take a really nice shot is just super impressive.
yeah,
And yeah, like, yeah, it's near, but whatever. But like when you smash, like you said, you smash one that hard, that high up into the top of the net, like that's hard. I mean, it's going to take a lot to save that. So it's just a
yeah.
great shot, and I loved seeing that from
I'm
him.
sure. I'm sure crew fans would have said that their starting goalkeeper would have stopped that. Um, but no, Gianni's been amazing past 2 games. I what an amazing pickup. I wasn't sure what we were going to get with him.
Right,
I wasn't even sure if he was going to be someone that's going to be starting.
right,
I thought he was going to be a rotation player at best, and maybe could even see him at center back some. But man, I could see why the scouting team likes him and why he's out on the field. He can really pick players out, and he's good defensively too. And again, he's one of those guys just like Patrick and Yuri. Like they're big, tall dudes, but they're fast, deceptively
right,
fast.
right.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
yeah. And I see some comments too. I saw one that I tweeted out over the weekend. And to answer somebody's question again, yes, I said earlier we had no DPs on the field. That was one of my comebacks to the crew, and also too, I tweeted this out over the weekend. We had 6 former Crown Legacy players suit up. We've talked about how important that pipeline's going to be. We had 2 starters, one scored. And Yao Pedro, I thought played great. Nikola Pekovic came in. He looked really good too. By the way, he didn't get a lot of minutes, but he had a dangerous moment too, where I thought he was gonna get away and have a 1-on-1. So I
Hmm.
think, man, I think the future's bright for us, and I'm really pumped about Crown Legacy and what's going on there. And if you have not yet went to a game, you absolutely should. You know, Jalen Lindsay was playing. I don't know if Brant Bronico is going to get some minutes as he's kind of rehabbing back, but you'll see some first team players down there. But you're going to see the future of Charlotte FC when you go to those games. So, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and I was one of those that, was a little bit skeptical of the lack of big signings, coming into this season. And you always made the point, like, look, like it may not be big names, but we're moving these guys up who are going to be really important pieces going forward. And I mean, I was still skeptical. Like I
Sure.
didn't know. And it's a small sample size, we're only talking about a handful of games here, but yeah, it's impressive to see how that pipeline of talent, those young guys from the Crown Legacy organization and coming up that way, have really been impressive and filled some nice spots and given us some really good moments there. So yeah, I mean, and then you add in, we did get the big signing in Abada, who will be coming along very soon. And so like you kind of build this base of a solid organizational talent pipeline, and then you sprinkle in those big signings on top. There's a lot to be excited about and a lot of talent to keep building onto there. So yeah, it's fun watching. Yeah, it's a good incentive to go down and watch some Crown Legacy matches because you get to see those guys as they're coming up. So that's fun.
What's cool about those games is, one, it's cheap. It's a little more intimate. There's not as many folks there. And you get direct access to the players. Like after the game, they have like the lawn. You just go up to the fence and they come right up to you and sign anything and take photos. It's a really cool little thing that they do. But we've had Jose, who covers the Philadelphia Union on quite a lot, especially on Saturdays, and he's he covers the Union, and the Union too. They have that pipeline, and then they go out and, like you were saying, Corey, sprinkling in these big signings, and it pays dividends. So I'm super hopeful about the future, and when we get Abada in, and then guess what? We still have another DP that we can sign, and that's incredible. So it's actually, and also too, we're going to be getting back all these players that have been injured for forever. We are going to get back Bronico, we are going to get back Bender, Brandon Cambridge. So and then we're going to get Enzo Capetti back. So I mean, I think we're in good shape, man. The third year, I think we've really kind of turned the corner. Especially defensively.
Yes.
I put out something earlier. Through 5 games, we've only given up 4 goals. Last year, through 5 games, we'd given up 10. And then the first year, we gave up 7. So drastically improvement there. Offensively, it's very consistent. I think it's 6-6-5 or 5-6-5. I don't know. We're right in line, but so we need to improve there. But like I said, we got a Bada coming in. We got another DP. Patrick's warming up. So it's all good stuff.
I would much rather be in this position where we're improved defensively, and we have moves we can make to improve offensively.
Yeah,
because you can still steal some points. Not scoring a whole bunch, but keeping clean sheets and doing all that, which is what they've done so far this season. So like that's fine. And then when you've got some pieces coming in to help with the scoring piece of it, that sets us up really, really nicely. So yeah, I'd much rather be in the position we're in right now than previous seasons, obviously.
Yeah, and if you look back at the past couple of games, I mean, if we get that PK call against Nashville, you never know what's going to happen there. Maybe we get a point there. The Vancouver thing, same thing. Like, I feel like we've been very, very unlucky. So that's why, again, I have zero sympathy for any Columbus Crew fans. So
the title
I feel like we've had nothing but bad luck. So yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Crew's gonna be all right.
They're
gonna be okay. I'm not too worried about them. Anything else game wise? We've got some questions. I'll jump into some Q&A in a little bit to dive into some more about all this. But anything else you want to highlight before we do that?
Yeah, I tweeted this out too. Again, kind of combating some Crew fans. We had 27 fouls. Columbus had 13. We had double the fouls called against us. And also too, and again, I don't want to hear it from the Crew fans. They had the least amount of fouls called on them. One guy told me it's because they're so effing good, they don't need to foul. I'm like, oh, you mean that you're kind of like MLS darlings and you just don't get called for crap? That's my take on it, man. I really, really liked Columbus and their fans before this game, but man, they have kind of turned me sour a little bit with some of their antics.
Yeah, Joe pulled up. Joe Garcia in the chat says we had 7 yellow cards and Columbus had 3. It was an all around poorly reffed match. We could put it that way. Like the ref wasn't good, but he was good and not good in multiple ways with both teams. So
he was horrible all over the place. Like,
he was consistently horrible.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, we didn't even talk about this. Vaughn just mentioned in the chat too. I'll pull this up. The stoppage of play for non-head injuries was disruptive for the first half rhythm, especially too. So yeah, there's a few times where you would stop the run of play for non-head injuries, which is not necessarily what we're supposed to see happen. So yeah, it was. And I have to ask to anybody, or if you've heard, Matt, like, are the Apple TV folks still not able to say anything? Like, I don't know how you could be a commentator watching that match and not be like, this is insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I want to go back and almost watch the first half with the Apple TV commentators to understand like how they talked about this match, because I just don't know how you get around it.
You should. You absolutely should. I wanted to go back and watch the game anyway because it was insane. But I also like to watch the recaps to see if they'll recap the horrible calls, because they didn't last week. Now this week they did a couple of them, but yeah, go back and listen to the commentary. I will say they thought the red card was harsh. Shouldn't have been a red card. They thought that the goal or the non-goal where Brett got the ball caught under his feet and then Gianni finishes it. They thought that quote unquote foul that Patrick made on Nagbe was ridiculous.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I mean, the commentators were kind of like, yeah, this is
something.
This is weird. Yeah, like, what can you say? Like, if I'm trying to be professional on air, like, what can you say about that game?
I think I would just start laughing. Like, I would just say factual statements and then chuckle, and that would be all you need to say. It's like, we got 10 minutes of stoppage time, and just kind of chuckle, and then like, we're now in the 61st minute of the first half, and then just kind of, I mean, just like, you're not actually saying anything, but it's very obvious. Like, there's times where you see commentators in all sports do this, where you avoid kind of talking about the refs and not want to get into all that, and there's ways to talk around it and even justify it. But like, I don't know how you can watch that first half and be like, this was a good half of high quality soccer. Like, it was madness. It was absolute madness. Yeah. All right, so we have some questions to dive into, but I think first, do you want to talk about a little shindig we're putting on at Salud?
Yeah, for our next away match against, I believe it's New England. So not this coming weekend, but next. We're going to do a live show at Salud, going back to our roots. If you've been listening to us from the beginning, you know that we used to have our episodes at Salud. Didn't matter if Magic the Gathering tournaments were going on or a date was going on right beside of us, or whatever was going on in the background. We used to go, and we would, drink some beers and talk about the beers and all that stuff. So it's nice to be going back and doing this. I think we're going to be partnering with Salute a lot more. But yeah, we're going to have like a watch party. The Mint City Collective is having their big watch party there. So it's going to be tons of people. I've mentioned before, the Mint City Collective is kind of rotating watch party, our big watch parties this year. We did the first couple at Hot Fly, which had great turnouts. But this week we're at Salud. We'll be there a couple of times this year, and we'll be moving around, of course. But I hope everybody can come up, because what we're gonna try to do is, and I'm looking at some of the names that are in these comments. I'm gonna try to pull people that have always tuned into the show. I'm gonna try to pull you in and let you talk for a couple of minutes and give your score predictions, but just kind of say thank you and give you an opportunity to get on the mic, because I'm sure you could do better than any of us. So I think it'd be fun. We'll try to have some special guests and everything too, but just come out and have some fun and enjoy the watch party, and come say hey and join us.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this, but as the person who has to edit this episode, I already have anxiety about having to go back to record at Salud. Not because it's Salud. I love Salud. I'm very happy about going to Salud. I'm not happy about the possibility of people playing Magic the Gathering very loudly beside us, or having really awkward first dates beside us and trying to minimize the noise in the background. But hopefully, since this will be a watch party, it'll be a much more focused and fun crowd. So anything we overhear will be much more entertaining than some of those past episodes. I mean, I'm telling you what, the noise reduction effect in Adobe Audition got some real workouts in those shows. So
it's a loud place. I think we have some little better mics now, so it might be a little better. So
it might be a little better.
But I think what we'll do is we'll probably set up a little early. So get there early.
Yep.
We'll do kind of like a pregame show. Up into the starting 11. We'll talk about that. We'll let the first half go. We'll talk at halftime, and then we'll kind of do a post match wrap up. But yeah. Corey, I think people want to see your cat.
I know. I just saw this. First of all, before I talk about the kitty, I was gonna say also. First time watching Inscoe German 81. Awesome.
Oh,
thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And thanks for being active in the comments. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah. Can we get a name? We'll shout you out there. But yes, the cat. I'm scared to get the cat, frankly. And I almost put Matt full screen. So people listening, because this is also a podcast. My cat is on the couch behind me, menacingly wagging her. Do the cats wag? Flipping her tail, I guess is the way to say it. And she was just scratching on the door for about 10 minutes trying to get out of here, but like it'd be weird for y'all to just see me stand up and walk away from the camera, so I can't really do that. So if you see me spotlight Matt really large in a second here, it's because I'm going to take care of the cat. But I'm worried if I grab her, she'll just start scratching me because she's a nice cat, but she has strong opinions. So I'll leave it that way. The cat's name, Vaughn, is Agnes.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah,
it's a good name for a cat.
It's a good old lady name. So
yeah.
All right. Let's get into some of these fan questions. I've got a bunch from before before we start recording, and then some live ones now. Again, if you're watching us live, keep throwing them into the chat, and I'll pull them up as we can. I'll probably miss some because I'm trying to multitask, but we'll do the best we can. But I'll start with some of the ones we got ahead of time. Let's start with Matt Chantry. He's the first one I have on my list. Pekovic came on and looked really good. Does he start next week? And if so, who drops to the bench?
I don't think he's ready to start quite yet. I want to see him get some more minutes. I was really impressed though when he did come in. He looked lively. I want to see more of that. I'm really hopeful for him and his future here. I know the scouting team were really big on him. He played really well at Legacy when he did play. He had some injury concerns last year and was out quite a bit. So again, I think it's good to just ease him in. I don't see him starting quite yet.
Yep. No, I agree. That makes sense. Thank you, Matt. I don't know if we want to answer this question, but I thought this question was funny from Russell. Russell Varner, good friend of the show, ahead of time says, you have to explain that game to someone who doesn't really follow soccer.
Yeah.
How do you do so?
So my wife went with me to the game. She doesn't typically go.
Right.
And she turns to me and she goes, she's like, I'm not a soccer expert, but this ref seems really, really bad. And she said it very matter of fact and very sweet. And I was like, and I turned, I was like, yeah, he's really, really bad. Like it was the first thing that she called out. She's like, he seems really bad. I'm like, yes, he is very bad. Yeah. I don't know how to explain that game. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. Just so many different things happen, and then plus, you're in the 62nd minute of the first half.
Yeah, I'm just imagining because I feel like probably every game. I mean, I'm sure this is the case. It's someone's first soccer match, or at least their first MLS match, right? Like just because either kids or just someone who's never really been and their friend brought them, whatever. Imagine that being the first one. Or like, is there normally 15 minutes added to the 45 minutes of the first half? No. This is not usual.
Yeah, it was wildly entertaining. I mean, Jillian, she's like, it was a fun game. So those are the types of games that can turn folks in the fans and get people to come back. And luckily, we're at home. It was a good crowd considering the NCAA tournaments in town. I think the average was what, like 30K, I think is what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
So yeah, it was a fun night. We won, so that of course makes a lot of things better. But
and 2 fun goals too. I mean, I think that's always a huge moment. Like when I'm trying to bring somebody in who's never been to a match before, I just hope it's a fun atmosphere, and then you get a couple of really nice goals that let the crowd go crazy. And those were some fun ones. So
Yeah.
So that was, I do hate that I wasn't able to be there because the guy who sits beside me in our ticket, I've said this on the show many times before, but he's a college and lower level referee. And so he always likes to kind of tell me about the refs and stuff like that. I just wish I could have seen his reactions to that first half. It would have been I would just had a great time. So I just have to get it from the next game and get him to recap it for me. But that was a lot of fun. All right, let's keep working down here. We got a lot coming in, which is great. All right, I'm going to stay with some pre-asked questions for now before I jump over. I'm going to say, let's go with Chris Fickling. He asks, how long is it going to take for Diani to replace Urunen as Swift's favorite player? This might be tough. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but what would it take for that to happen?
I don't know. Yuri's my man. But I tell you, like 2 games in, I am highly impressed, and understand why we went out and got him. And I think he's going to be a key part of this team, whether he starts every game or not. Because again, like in certain situations, he's going to be amazing coming off the bench to like, jumpstart the offense, or, depending on how we want to play, like finish off a game. He's tall, and he can pick players out. Like I think he brings a lot to the squad, and just another great sign. And we mentioned Yeri. Yeri's one of those guys too that wasn't like, oh my God, we got this amazing signing.
Right.
But they've been amazing signings. Gianni's only played 2 games. Yuri's amazing. I don't care what anybody says. I'll defend that all day long. Yuri might be one of the best signings we've had. I'm a big fanboy of Yuri, but Diani's starting strong. So I'm super happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, credit to the scouting team. We've talked about this a little bit before, again, to repeat it, but like getting some names that when we signed them, I was like, okay, I don't really know much about that guy, but sure, why not? He might fill a role, and then have turned out to be really key players for us. So good. I mean, that's a credit to them. I'm going to do one more pre-show question just because we don't really answer this one, but I meant to bring this up earlier. But Philip Sanford, good buddy, who sits like 8 seats down from me at matches.
Oh, okay.
He said you made the point that you talked about earlier, which is what has happened to just having regular penalty kicks. Both Tavares and Vargas have missed badly on what I call the twinkle toes shots. So you already have a big advantage when you're a shooter. He continues, and you kind of give it up when you do this, like trying to be cute style. Like just get up there and smash it. I think we're all on the same page. Like don't try to be cute. Just put it in a good spot and get it by him.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. I feel like you lose a lot of momentum and can't get enough, power behind it, because when you're stutter stepping, you're trying to get the goalkeeper to go a different way, and you just place it, basically pass it into the other half of the net where the keeper's not there. But keepers are getting smart. They're standing their ground a little more, and they're just easy to stop when you're just basically trying to pass the ball in the goal. So I think we need somebody to step up and just knock one in. Maybe not to put it over the goal in stadium though. Maybe. Get it on frame. Just get it on. Right. Get it on frame. Because like if there could be a rebound, there could be other things that happen. Just get it on frame. Get a rebound at least. So
put it hard on frame. Like that's really all you need to do. And then who knows what happens. So I'm going to go to the live questions. And there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, let's do it.
About Abada. So I'm going to just kind of pull up a few of them. The first one that's on my list is just basically the from Matthew Christensen asking any word if Abada will be available for this weekend's game. We'll start with just that part. Abada, have you heard anything? Is he going to be available for this weekend?
I think so. I'll have a better idea Thursday. And for folks that don't know, I do a quick kind of like 5 to 10 minute match preview of our upcoming opponent. And I usually kind of like, we'll have a better idea. That's towards the end of the week. The guys are training in a certain way. You kind of get an idea of who's going to be starting and who's injured, who's going to be available and all that stuff. So I think he's supposed to be. I'll have probably a better answer Thursday.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then Oh, actually, I'm going to bring that back up. Where did it go? The second part of the question was any news if any of the injured guys will be returning this weekend?
I think Bronico should be ready.
Okay.
Again, I don't know. He's not going to be starting. I wouldn't start him, of course. But it could be available. So that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Gives us some added depth, and especially at the end of games, hopefully when we're winning, he can come on, foul some folks, get aggressive, play some defense, break up some stuff. Yeah. So
I like it.
rack up 30 more fouls, I guess.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
So related to that, I'll jump down to C&M's Garage. Asked to predict their wingers and striker for this weekend. Pat or Enzo, Abada on the right wing. What do you see that attack looking like?
Man, that is a good question. I don't know exactly where Enzo stands. Again, he's one of those folks Thursday. I'll have a better idea, but I mean, it'd be hard to sit Pat. Usually when a striker scores, you gotta ride the hot hand, I guess. So I would imagine maybe you start Pat, and then if Enzo's if he is ready to go, he could be a sub for the second half. Hopefully, we won't need him. He can have another week to rest, and then we'll see what happens after that. Botto on the right wing. Again, he's not going to start. Could be a sub later, get his run out. So we'll see.
Yeah. Related to that, I'm going to jump to another question real quick. Andrew Abernathy asked ahead of time, Curran was cooking on the right side this week. Has that made you feel more comfortable with him playing on that side?
Andrew, I might disagree just a little bit. I'm up and down on Kerwin, actually. I really haven't seen him play all that well. I want him to. He has that potential. He has that in him. I think he's just better on the left side. I think being on the right side kind of hinders him some. Yep. He did look better this game. I will say that, and he got in some dangerous spots. I just think he hasn't lived up to his potential yet. It's just a matter of time. And he's one of those players that needs a goal. He really does, because he's one of those players. If he can get one, it's going to keep happening. So he's someone that really desperately needs it. Am I comfortable? I think when Abada comes in, he goes to right wing, and then we move Kerwin on the left side.
Yep. No, I feel the same way too there. Okay, a couple more. I'm going to keep running through these. I'm going to combine two of the Abada questions we have, because I feel like they're related. From Mint City Matthew, do you think Abada scores this Saturday if he's available? And beyond that, from NC German 81, just what do you hope that Abada brings to the team when he does play for us? So does he score a goal? And then just in general, what do you think he adds to that squad?
I don't think he scores. It'd be amazing if he did, because we're playing at home. But let's just say hypothetically that he's not going to play, right? Or not going to start. Maybe he doesn't play. What I'm looking for him is just creating chances. We clearly need that. We're not scoring quite enough. Again, past 3 years, we're still kind of in that same 5 to 6 goal ratio. Luckily, our defense is better. But I'd like to see us be a little more dangerous. I think he's just going to bring so much more to this team. And he's going to be a player that other teams are going to have to watch out for. And because of that, maybe they'll slide an extra man out to him, that opens up the middle, that opens up front. I think we're going to be very dangerous with him on the field. It's going to cause all types of havoc. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking for goals from him, just assists, creative chances.
Yeah. And just because I love some good wordplay, I'm going to pull up NC German went a little crazy with the Abada puns, and I guess they're puns in the chat. So things are Abada be rough for the MLS.
Yeah, he's got a great name to do these. So yeah.
The Fortress about to go Abada boom.
Awesome.
I feel like there was another one somewhere I lost, but those are the two I see immediately. So good stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one more live question before we jump back to some of the pre-asked questions. From Billy Dempsey. He asks, any concern for how the refs call games when it comes to Big Pat? It feels like he doesn't get treated like the majority of players in his position because of his size. And I guess the question got cut off a little bit there. But we talked about this, I think, last week. Like I think I called it the Cam Newton effect is the best thing I can compare it to. Is like you've got a, and when you're talking about football, you've got a quarterback the size of a linebacker back there, versus, your smaller, more old school quarterback that doesn't have that same size. I feel like they call the game differently because of that. So what are your thoughts on any concerns when it comes to his size and how that affects how the game might be called for him?
No, I think Billy's right, and Corey, you are too. I think because of his size, he just doesn't get the calls that someone else would, like a Cucho Hernandez or Hani Mukhtar. They slightest touch, they go down, they're going to get the call every single time. It happened in this game. Cucho Hernandez got a couple of calls. You're just like, oh my God, you didn't even get touched, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But Patrick's big, so, and Patrick's a little handsy. That's something I want him to work on. Like, he's a little Patrick's handsy. But yeah, I think he gets the shaft a lot.
Yeah.
So I want him to. The thing is like he holds off people really well, and I think players hold on to him, but they don't see that. They're seeing Pat like working on someone smaller, but like, oh, clearly it's a foul on Patrick. He's a bigger guy. So I think he gets the shaft.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right. I'm going to jump back to some pre-questions we had. Again, if you're watching live, keep throwing questions in there. We'll come back and get as many as we can in the amount of time we have left. This one's from Keith Chitwood. Everyone is talking that we need a DP cam, but do we really need a DP or at least a high quality striker?
I still think you go Cam because you're trying to build this team for the long haul. Like right now, our situation is you have Enzo Capetti, who's a DP, and then you have Patrick Aubameyang, right? And then we actually have some other options too that we put up front. I think you get somebody in the middle that can create plays. Brek Dahahare is a player that I've been a little disappointed in.
Yeah,
especially after the miss there. You can't do that. I'm sorry. You just can't. You cannot do that. And besides that, there's just been some other things that I'm not too thrilled about. So we need someone who can create plays. Scott Arfield is great. He can't go 90 minutes. He just can't. So we need somebody out there that can go take people on, create chances, get fouled in the box. So I think you start there, and then you get to the summer, and then you can think about, okay, are we going to move forward with Enzo? Because remember, we still got another DP. Like so you've got the DP that you can sign, and get your DP cam. You could potentially at that time get rid of Enzo if that's what you want to do, and then go get your striker.
Yeah.
Too. But I think you start with your cam because Enzo, Vaughn's been on, he's in the thread here, and he's a big proponent of Enzo. But what Enzo needs is service. He needs those balls that Diani's been kind of playing to Patrick. Capetti just hasn't had that yet. I want to see somebody that can do that a little more. So I think that's what we need.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree with that. All right, let's get rid of that one. We have a few, not surprisingly, a few questions about the referees. I don't know if we have an answer for these, but I'm going to pull them up real quick anyway. Katie Hannick asks, at what point will MLS agree to pay the referees and end this fiasco with the current referees? Jeff Eklund asked a very similar question. What do we have to do to get MLS to pay the refs? And follow-up question, did we commit the most fouls by a club in MLS match in history? I'd love to know what that actual number is. I might do some Googling in a minute. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on, does the poor officiating we've seen actually speed anything up for MLS? I have a gut reaction but I'm curious what you would say.
I think MLS keeps making really stupid decisions. And I don't think this game or this season's games have dictated any of that crap. And here's the thing, though, too. The refs in general are not that great. The thing is, though, and I think we talked about this maybe last show. If you pay people well, you usually get the best people, right? If you kind of, there's really good referees out there that just don't ref anymore because they don't make any money. So why do it? So it turns people off. But if you pay people, you usually get, and you pay them well, you usually get good people. But I think there's been a problem with refereeing in general. VAR has been wildly inconsistent. But the refs that we have right now are atrocious. And the replacement refs, pay your damn refs. It's just a PR move. If you want to be cold-hearted about this and only business and money related, like PR-wise, pay your damn referees and get them back. Like, it's just bad press, bad publicity. It's stupid at this point.
I agree with that. I just don't think. I think as long as people are still going to the matches and as long as they're still getting the Apple TV money, they don't care. Frankly, like they should care more about how bad of a look it is on the just for us fans, but also just like people from other fans of other leagues watching MLS. I mean, like that's a joke. What is going on there? Yeah. It's a bad look, but I just don't think they actually, frankly, care right now. Yeah. So they're not gonna. It's not gonna make them make any move. Vaughn always with the knowledge coming in. There's a vote going on right now that ends at midnight on a tentative agreement between Pro and PSRA. So yeah, who knows? We'll see. So, and then this came up. This is kind of going to your point before as well too. But NC German threw in the chat that I don't see much of a difference between the replacement refs and the regular refs. And I can't remember. It was Vaughn last week who said something along the lines of, I don't think regular refs would have changed the penalty call against Pat either because he has no faith in them either. So to your point, like it's not like we were going from, premium refereeing to this. It's always been an issue. So
yeah.
Okay, let's get out of the refereeing talk. We can go on a deep rabbit hole for that. So I'll move on from those. David Kelly, we talked about Pat a little bit earlier. He asks, Pat did a great job of battling with his defender on his goal. Do you think Enzo scores that goal, or does he shy away from the contact? Which is it's hard to ask a hypothetical question like that, but
I'll try to answer it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair to compare the two. They're just different players. I don't think Enzo would shy away from the contact. He might go down a little easier or more. Enzo's capable of scoring a goal like that, but I mean, the one thing I do like about Patrick, he's got that big frame and can muscle some folks off. It's hard to defend him, man. Like somebody that is that fast and that big, that has those long legs. That's tough. I've defended tall players in the past, and they're really well. I say that everybody's taller than me. Let's face facts, but yeah, like the really tall players, they're hard to defend, man. So, yeah,
it's hard. I mean, it is hard to say what hypothetically would happen, but I did have the reaction when I saw that goal. It's like that feels like something that Enzo wouldn't have scored, or just wouldn't have gone the same, or we haven't seen him do it. Maybe it's the more fair way to say that we haven't seen him do that kind of have that kind of strength in the box and get in there and score like that. And so it was nice to see. And I do think, I want to see more of that from Patrick, but also, I hope we get to see some of that from Capetti going forward too, as he gets some opportunities and gets in some good form there as well. All right. Let's
absolutely.
Let's jump around again. See some stuff in here. All right. There's a few things about the crowd and some things from the crowd side of Saturday's match that I wanted to bring up. One was from ahead of time from Jeremy. I actually should know this. Is it Mikel or is it Michael? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh, you froze up a little bit. Sorry. We're having a little technical difficulty.
I think we both froze.
Yeah. No, I think it's Michael, right?
Michael. Okay.
I
I feel
think.
like I should know
Oh,
that. Jeremy Michael.
he's gonna kill me if I get that wrong. Now I'm second guessing myself.
All right, I didn't mean
Oh
to put you on the
gosh.
spot. We're just gonna say Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy asks, what will it take for us to make another evolution in attendance and grow beyond 30,000 regularly? Like you said, even on a busy night of sports, the attendance I saw was a little over 30,000. So what do you think it'll take to get above that, maybe on a regular, just a regular season match?
I think, you see it with the Panthers, right? When you're winning, you're going to the playoffs, you're making a playoff push, you're in championship games. Yeah, that's the only way to really push it. I mean, Charlotte is a big city with a lot of different sports teams, and like this past weekend, the NCAA tournament's playing.
Right.
So we have a lot of extra stuff going on. But to take that next step is, get a huge key player, like, everybody knows, and winning is going to do it.
Yeah.
Fighting for titles is going to do it. So that's where you'll see that extra 5 to 10K jump. I don't know if we'll ever get to like the 40-45K mark consistently. I think, and I think it's fine to be in the 30-35K. So
yeah, that's all I was going to say is that, like, I'm not, obviously I would love to keep the attendance growing, get that average a little bit higher, but like I'm super excited that we are still at that 30K plus.
Yeah.
Again, on a busy sports night, a little bit chilly, not like that not like a beautiful, June Saturday night or something like that. There's nothing else going on, and that's good to see, because my concern was always after that first season seeing a huge drop in attendance when the results on the field weren't amazing. Because, like, yes, we made the playoffs last year. We had a good first season, but it's not like they're just winning left and right and winning playoff games and having that level of success. So to still see, even without that, 30,000 consistently showing up night in, night out at those matches is massive. And I think something we should be really, really happy with. And yeah, I look for ways to grow it, but I think it's been great to see. And that people are still, I still talk to people who haven't ever been to a match before and really, really want to go, and getting them tickets and all that. Like there's still a place to grow with that, which I think is really good. Related to some of the fan stuff, I like, this was fun. I'm going to pull up a couple of things. Matt says, can we also mention the growth of I'm pronouncing things fun. The Poznan. I always say Poznan, but I don't actually know if that's right. At the bank, it's amazing. And then so we had a few other comments on it. Billy Dempsey says, my favorite part is when my crew gets ready for the Poznan, and usually the fans behind us are new. They are so confused to see us staring at them before it starts. That's also, I have to say, Billy, also one of my favorite things is that turning around and the person like looking square in your eyes and like, what are you doing? And then we start bouncing around. It's a great moment. So we had a few other comments along that, but any thoughts you have? I also agree. I'm glad we've kept doing that. And I've loved to see how it's spread around from where it started to being mostly a supporters group thing with a few pockets here and there to like that whole stadium is bouncing pre-kick. And I think that's awesome.
Well, I think it speaks to returning fans, season ticket members, or folks that are just getting single game tickets, but they keep coming to games, and now they know when to do it and how to do it. And it's spread through the whole entire stadium, not just the supporter section or one half. It's everybody now. And it's a really cool thing. And, they'll highlight that on MLS, the Apple Plus shows and stuff like that. And the commentators are always talking about how awesome it is. It's a really cool thing. David, who's not on the show, he's been a big proponent of leading chants and being involved in that. And the one thing I will say is any chants or any pregame traditions that we have or that we try, just know, like, if it doesn't come off the first time, it's okay. You have to keep kind of keep at it and keep at it, and maybe some things won't work, but if we would have just kind of gave up, then it wouldn't have been a thing. But we kept doing it, and because it's fun, one. So we'll have more traditions like that. You'll kind of start understanding what's going on. Like we're 3 seasons in, and we have those crazy fever dream Game of Thrones type videos at the beginning, and now we have a knight that comes out with a torch, and it's getting wild. The pyrotechnics are getting better and stuff like that. So just now you kind of start knowing what's going on, because at first you're like, what is happening?
Yeah. So since you brought it up, Vaughn Pullman earlier had asked, and I saved this question: what's the relationship between Sir Minty, the Spooky Queen, and the Torch Knight?
Sir Minty is the end all be all. Well, probably we'll call him a god. He's a sir, but he's like sir. It's like a god-like figure. I am still like
Wow.
I am we're 3 seasons in, and I love those videos. I couldn't tell you what the hell's going on. I've tried to decipher them. I don't know
No
what the
idea.
spooky queen is. The spooky queen, like, is she like our queen? Is she nice? Is she like, what is happening? And then now we got the torch knight guy that comes out, and like, what is he about? What is he doing? Like, it's starting to get pretty fascinating. I like that we keep adding stuff too. And the pyro stuff is getting better and coordinating. Corey, did you know, like, with the whole phone thing, and
No.
how that's working with? Oh, so they showed us this at a kind of supporter thing at the beginning of the season. And for folks that don't know, while this video is playing, if you pull out your phone and go to the Charlotte FC app, there's like a light show option, and all you got to do is hit that, and it brings up a screen. I'm not entirely. I guess you can record, which makes, I don't know what's going on there, but the light on your phone will blink in unison with everybody else, and it kind of goes with the video and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Wild
I
times,
love
man.
this.
Yeah,
Wild times. It's like the Taylor Swift bracelets, but on steroids. I love it.
yeah. There you go.
So I was gonna say, when we were talking about the video and the night, like one of my favorite things about this whole thing that team's doing is that they keep doing it. They keep leaning into the crazy video and the
Yeah.
torch night and Sir Minty, that there's no explanation, there's no logic to it, and they just keep
Mm-mm.
doing it. And I think it's one of
No,
my favorite things. There's like, we're not going to explain it to you. We're just going to keep making it weirder.
no, do more. I want more. I want this to get really ridiculous. I want, when opposing fans come into the stadium, they are just completely stunned. They don't know what the hell's going on. But the videos, whoever's doing the videos, I would love to like find out how that is written, how it's done.
Yeah,
The videos are fantastic. I
they're
still
very
have
well
a hard time,
done.
like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it's cool and it gets me pumped up. So, and everybody loves them. Like, my wife was like, "Yeah, the video." She's a big Game of Thrones fan, but she was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, these videos are really, really cool." She's seen all 3 now, and again, the whole time I'm like, "I need to watch this clearly and figure out the storyline."
Yeah.
And I got nothing. I got nothing.
No. I think that's kind of the point, which is what I love so much. Vaughn's
Yeah.
gonna call him Sir Torchy, which I very much like. We got
Yeah,
Sir
he's
Minty and
got
Sir Torchy.
I mean, he's gotta have a name, right? And I can't remember. I think it's the same. So they did it the first home game. I think it's the same guy. So I don't know if that's somebody that it's going to be doing that always, or kind of what that situation is. How do you get to
Yeah.
be the knight? I'm still trying to figure out how
Ooh.
you get to be Minty, but
Yeah.
now we got the
We're
knight.
gonna be the night. This will be fun.
Yeah,
This will be fun.
yeah.
Matt throws that. I really like this idea you threw in the chat. We need a game that the stadium goes pitch black and the knight uses his torch to light up the stadium. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
I I think we could do that at the end of the year. Right now it's too light outside.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
I think that's something. Yeah, that's a good idea though. I like that a lot. So at the end of the season we should be able to I want him to like light something on fire though. He's got the torch. Now we got to implement something where he can light something on fire. I don't know.
Yeah, good. I feel like I'm a Twitch streamer now, but I want to thank Christian says he's first time here. So thanks for the first time watchers. That's awesome.
Hello.
We
Welcome.
love having y'all watching and chiming in on the chat.
Bring him back up for a second.
Yeah, gotcha.
We always like to look at the photos. So
is he picking a Christmas tree? Is that what's happening right now?
He could be hugging a tree, about to hug a tree, or about to pick a
attacking
tree.
the tree? I'm not sure.
Could be.
The karate chopping the tree? It's really hard to tell what's going on with
I don't know. We always like to call out the photos. But thanks for joining.
We didn't even pull it out where like Billy has the very nice headshot here. Like that's a good looking professional headshot there.
Could light the turf on fire. Well, I'm sure Columbus Crew fans would join you. Hey, look, I don't like the turf. I don't know anybody who really like loves it, but it is what it is, man. And Columbus have been in this league since like '96. How many times have they played on turf? Give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Christian is presenting the tree. He's presenting the
to
tree
who?
to just clear up to just the world. Okay. This is the tree.
People who were listening to this on the podcast are like, man, what is going on?
I'm sorry. We'll stop talking about the visual mediums. I believe that's no, I lied. I have two more questions. One more serious one and one fun one, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But they're both from Paul Stahlschmidt. Who do you rate at CLT as the strongest performer for Charlotte FC so far and the most underperforming? So strongest performer so far. Where do you go with that?
Yeri. Just solid. I know he didn't play really last game. That's who I'm going to go for. Underperforming Brecht Tahare.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned this earlier, but he's one that I had really high hopes for last season when he came on, and I thought he could be a really, really good piece for us. And I just I haven't seen it, and hopefully it comes. But I totally agree with that pick.
Yeah, he's also somebody that needs a goal or needs something good to happen to him. So
the cat is now attacking my back. So
one more thing, kind of to this question, real quick. I want to give a big shout out again to Andrew Privet, a young kid, in again playing not his natural position, but has played extremely well. We've kept a couple clean sheets. I told you the stat earlier about how many goals we've allowed. Maybe he really likes Juan and he wants those clean sheets, so Dean will give him some Juan for that. But big kudos and shout out to Andrew. He's done really, really well with his opportunity, and he could have very easily lost his spot. But he's played really well.
Yeah. I'll throw in Vaughn again, even when he's not hosting up here. He's coming in with the thoughtfulness and he's playing a little devil's advocate here. He says Brecht is still leading the team in goal contributions. I wonder if that says more about the lack of goals than it does about how he's played. I don't know. Like there's a little bit of a sample size thing there, but it is that is a valid point. So
yeah, I mean, again, I think the theme of this thing is zero sympathy, and I have zero for him. After that miss, that literally, that is some Sunday.
Oh, I got to stall now. We lost Matt again. This is what happened before we started recording. This is the fun stuff we get to see. So let me go through some of the comments here while I'm waiting on Matt to rejoin us for a second. We got a couple people saying that Brecht cut off Swift's video. I agree. They heard him talking a little bit of junk and then brought him down. But luckily he figured out a way to turn the computer back on and overpowered Brecht's ability to shut down his video feed. So
the soccer gods did not like that.
All right, so before we lose all technical ability stuff, let's get to the last question that I have in front of me. Oh, there's two fun questions. So I'll do one, the one from Paul, and then I saw another one in the comments that I'll get to in a second here. So Paul's other question was, how many corn dogs would fit in the fanny pack giveaway? I think I really wish we had David on for this one as our resident corn dog expert.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think? How many think you've been to a fanny pack?
Yeah, so they had the fanny pack giveaway at the game. It's clear. I would say, or if we're talking cookout corn dogs,
Yeah.
I would
The
say
only corn dog, yeah.
I would say 3.
3?
I think you get 3 or 4. I think you get in there.
Oh, I was gonna say 5. I think if you have enough willpower, you can get them a little squished together. I think you get 5.
Okay. If somebody wants to do that, try it out. That would be that'd be awesome.
No, that needs to be a David thing. That needs to be like his next just random live stream. Is he'll go between opening doing opening packs of cards and then trying to fit corn dogs into a fanny pack, just back and forth.
Yeah.
And we'll get that good content. Christian says 7, so Christian's even more ambitious about the ability to fit corn dogs in than I am. So that's good. And then Matt said he's on it. So we'll have to wait on Matt to report back to how many corn dogs he fit in there. I know there was one, I gotta see if I can find it. This is me digging through and trying to be producer and co-host at the same time. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, hold on, I found you. I can't find the original question in C German, but I know you asked. Oh, that's not it. Things are jumping around. This is where I start editing stuff out of the audio version of the podcast. Here's the question from NC German. He asked earlier, and I can't find the actual original question, but they asked, who's the bigger fan, Mint City Matt or Matt Swift?
Who is Mint City Matthew? Maybe that's just me, and I've just been typing away asking questions myself.
Actually, I assumed it was Chantry, but he's usually Westwood Tea Gang, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. He could have different aliases.
I don't know why. I assumed it was Chantry, but maybe if this person could tell us who it is, that would be helpful to decide on who the bigger fan is. But I don't know if we'll get an answer fast enough to be able to do this.
What's the criteria what's the criteria of bigger fan?
Most jerseys owned.
Well, I probably So he just Missy Matthew just says, me, Swift. So this is just getting even more. This is not going to work in an audio format. This is going to get edited out of the audio version of this podcast. If we're talking jerseys, I think I win. If we're talking tattoos, I probably win. But I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like to say who's a bigger fan.
Have we figured out who this Matt is? Do you know who it is?
No, I do know. I know them. I know a lot of Matthews. I know a lot of Matts. That's the problem. We have way too many Matts in Mint City. There's so many of us.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, the mystery of the Matt will live on. But anything else you want to chime in before we go? Like you said, we'll have the preview episode out later this week. That'll be on social channels on YouTube, and we'll also throw it on the podcast feed as well, so you can listen to. It's a new thing we're doing, which I think is a lot of fun that Matt's been doing. It's just a really quick, just quick preview for the match that comes out either Thursday or early Friday, depending, to get you ready for the weekend. But anything else you want to mention before we head out?
No, if you're here or new here, if you could please subscribe to the channel, like the video. It kind of helps us out. It gets us in front of more folks. And if you're listening to Spotify or Apple, leave us a rating and a review. That also helps us a ton when people are looking up soccer podcast and things like that. So we really appreciate the support. We also have the shop. I've actually got a new shirt on today. It's like the old school baseball. I've got the retro on. Corey's got our normal logo t-shirt. So yeah, go head to our shop. We have merch there. We have all types of fun stuff. So that helps the show. It helps us do fun things like a live events, helps us get equipment that we need and all that fun stuff. Corn dogs helps us get corn dogs. So
helps feed us. Let's put food on the table.
there you go.
Definitely check it out. But yeah, we'll be back later this week with or Matt, I should say Matt will be back later this week with a little preview episode for you. But until then, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.